You joined the gym.
I
started working out. You were 320 pounds at the beginning of this journey.
And so by the time I joined the gym, I went down to like 240.
That's significant.
Yeah, but a lot of that was like extreme dieting. I didn't know what I was doing with dieting.
That's a significant change.
Yeah. Dude, I just like cut out alcohol. That dropped 20 pounds instantly. And then, like I said, I was just salads, chicken breast, tuna, really low calories.
Right. So now you're the other end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah, now I almost have an eating disorder at this point.
Well, let's just call it disordered eating.
Yeah.
Right. And it's due likely to probably just a total lack of understanding. Like, and well, I see this is what people are talking about they're doing. Like there's the paleo lifestyle that comes along with CrossFit. I don't know if that fit into it somewhere.
Yeah. I was trying to be super duper clean.
Right.
Right.
So you kind of trade one addiction, the alcohol, for almost another, which is exercise and extreme dieting.
Yeah. Dude,
which is a very common tale.
Yeah. Well, because the thing is, I have like one of my best friends, dude. He's always like, man, I'm always like, you need to stop training so fucking hard and stick to a program. Maybe not train as much, because this guy's a hard gainer, trying to get stronger. But he's a CrossFitter, right? And if you're a CrossFitter and you're a hard gainer and you're shredded, you're probably working out like way too much, right? Way too many hours. So anyways.
Well, being shredded and being a competitive CrossFitter have zero to do with one another. Right.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's true. That's nutrition and stuff like that.
Some people are just freaks, right? They can eat Pop-Tarts and cookies every day and still look like a comic book character, right? And then there's the ones that are constantly underfed, overtrained, under recovered. Like there's that extreme as well.
So he recognizes it, right? But like, yeah, man. So like, there's that whole thing, and for me, I was kind of doing that in the beginning. I'd be like, I didn't understand training, programming, or anything, right? Dude, I was like, okay, it's been a couple hours. It's time to fucking train again, dude. And I didn't understand central nervous system training or fatigue. I didn't understand like any of that shit. So I was just like going super slow, doing overhead squats and trotting on my jogs and shit like that. Just way too much. I'm glad I joined a gym because I had people telling me like, hey man, like just try doing the class and one other thing. And then I followed like Jim Windler's 5-3-1. And then I started making some good progress doing that, like real good progress, that complementing with CrossFit. And then I found Barbell Shrugged. And Barbell Shrugged did a ton for me, dude.
Right. They brought a lot of great information. They were there at the beginning of the whole CrossFit movement. And there were some smart guys there. Bledsoe, Macklin, Bergeron. Right.
I believe it was Chris. I forget his last name. He actually had passed a few years ago.
Yeah. There
was like 4 people.
Yeah. They got real smart about like, they were starting to look at the science. They were starting to look at kind of this.
Yeah. And they would get guests on that like actually, like, I think they had Dr. Rhonda Patrick before Rogan did. I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, probably.
And dude, I was like, vitamin D, what am I doing? At
least they brought a lot of things to light, man. I mean, what they did was they started to bring like the realism of recovery, the realism of training for the non-athlete, right? The non-competitive athlete to the table. And there were certainly a lot of things that spawned off of that. I mean, you look at like Rob Wolf and what he was doing with the paleo, diet and to where he was then to where he is now. There was so many people that had latched on or joined into the CrossFit community and fucking smart people, really intelligent, smart people that just had to kind of catch up to the momentum that was going on. And it's still at this point, I mean, the momentum's still going strong. So they have this critical mass. It's almost going like wildfire, almost uncontrollably.
Dude, it's so weird now. That's a whole nother thing that I have like these weird feelings about. Cause I feel like we've in the community, there's been like a lot of like CrossFit. It seems like with their programming and kind of the things that I see, and don't get me wrong, I don't keep up a whole lot with the newest CrossFit stuff anymore, but it definitely seems like they're doing damage control from what I can see. Because there's a lot of CrossFit fail YouTube videos, clips. There's a lot of people shitting on like a standard for CrossFit coaching.
They ran into some damage control for sure at some point. I think the cream will always rise to the top. There are some amazing people in that community, but again, the barrier of entry is very low, right? It allowed for, tons of people to get in at weird times, but there's a lot of opportunity there. And yeah, I would imagine they're doing a little bit damage control. I think on the business
end. I don't agree with it though. I think it's on the business end that's why they're doing it.
Yep.
I just don't agree with it because like, without going too far into this, because I know when I got into CrossFit, who I was around when I got into CrossFit, and looking back at some of those things that some of these people above me would tell me, I'm like, damn, dude, I could have very well gotten hurt, but also would I be where I am today in terms of fitness and how often I worked out and things that I experienced if I didn't go through that?
Those experiences, you 100% agree. Like you have to fuck up. You have to fall down.
You just have to fuck up, dude.
You have to fall down. Yeah, let's go back to your mom for a second, never wanting you to be, so now you're doing all your falling down at 24,
all kinds of it,
at 24 years old, rather than falling down earlier and learning those lessons. I mean, it's a lesson to all this helicopter parenting right now. I think I'm just going to say it. I think our nation as a whole is dealing with the ill effects of helicopter parenting. Like,
definitely.
You didn't learn your lessons early and now you're learning them now. This goes back to having to take control or accept responsibility for your actions and the consequences that come along with those actions. And one of the greatest lessons my mother and my father ever taught me is you own your shit. Like there are actions and consequences, and you are 110% responsible for the actions that you make and the consequences that come along with that. Period. End of story. I don't want to hear anymore. If you make the decision, there is an aftermath of that. And sometimes it's a 50-50, and sometimes there's a reward and sometimes there isn't. And you got to deal with that. And right now we're staring down the barrel of, oh, it's not my fault. Somebody else will take care of this. Like somebody else will helicopter in and is going to take care of this issue. And in your case, you're falling down now.
It's so weird to me because
at that point in your life where
that's where my mom was like my whole life. And now I joke with her all the time and she fucking hates her. I'm just like, take ownership, dude.
Yeah.
So I can take ownership for what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, but it's funny because she raised me like that and I'm like so mad about it. But then I'm also like really happy with like who I'm becoming. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like such a weird fucking thing, but I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. Again, I think there's so many, there's a dichotomy of you're either learning that or you learned it. Let's just put it this way. You either learned it and you're dealing with it okay, or you're dealing with it fine and you're growing as a person. Because you have to go through it at some point. You're gonna go through it at some point. You're gonna face issues and you're gonna have to make decisions and you're gonna make wrong ones and you're gonna make seemingly right ones. But one way or another, it's coming. It's coming. And regardless of your upbringing, you're taking personal responsibility for your stuff, right? And you're taking in this case, you're taking personal responsibility for your health, personal responsibility for your fitness, personal responsibility for the decisions and the actions that you make every day in order to better your situation. And by doing that, you learn what was maybe a good decision or maybe a not so great decision, which has kind of brought you to where you're at. So I mean, that's life. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, that sounds like a lecture, but I mean, so you go through CrossFit, you ultimately become a coach, you're starting to give back, right? And you're inspiring people through the lessons that you've learned and not making the same mistakes with your clients or with the coaching that you maybe experienced.
So that's the thing, dude, is like having those failures and working too hard in certain areas, hurting my knee, for example, hurting my shoulder. I don't get to squat as often as I used to, even though I can totally squat without pain now. But if I start squatting a lot, like often, like if I get on a squatting program, dude, I feel it. I'm 31. I shouldn't be feeling it like this when I get on a squatting program or outdoor basketball.
Actions and consequences.
Yeah. But because of that, maybe I don't fucking front squat 400 pounds like I've always wanted to, right? But I think I've helped a lot of people through prehab and rehab, the boring shit. That's important that CrossFitters need to fucking hear, because a lot of times CrossFitters mentality is what's awesome is once they get in the gym, dude, they're fucking engines, they're workhorses. The problem is you have to dial them back.
Right.
Because once they're in and they're sold on it, dude, like there's a lot of dialing back. And yeah, dude, all that shit that I learned by fucking up. And like I said, I don't think it's good that they're doing damage control now from what I can see as a brand. Me personally, I'm glad I went through that because, dude, like I feel awesome coaching people now.